Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995, Studio A. And now onto the show. Good afternoon, everybody. I have a lovely studio audience. I have Dawn and Freddie, and I have my good friend Russ sitting next to me as my guest today. So we're going to do a little bit of a slightly different show today. I'm actually going to issue a warning, which I don't usually do. But he brought me this, and we're talking a little bit, I put it in the category, I guess, of really, can't think of the word, conspiracy theories. But I believe very much in this gentleman. If anybody's listening, we're going to talk a lot about, if anybody knows, please call in and ask questions of David Icke. Because when I started my journey, probably about 24 years ago, this was one of the first books that I actually read. Right. So now I'm just going to cut this, I'm not going to read the whole thing, just to let you know, obviously just take from this, which I've heard people say before, and you can leave the rest. But it's an enormous amount of challenging information in the book that I'm not really plugging the book, but that's going to be our topic. Please do not continue if you're dependent on your present belief system or you feel I cannot cope emotionally with what is happening in the world. I love that because it sounds so dramatic, but actually it's very true. If you choose to continue, well, hopefully you're going to still listen to my show. I hadn't read the whole thing. There is nothing to fear. Life is forever, and everything is just an experience on the road to enlightenment. Viewed from the highest level of perception, there is no good or evil, only continuous making choices to experience all that there is to experience. The astonishing events in this book, which we're going to cover a little bit, are the process of coming into the end of the light of freedom dawns at last on the biggest transformation of consciousness this earth has seen in 26,000 years. It is, despite some of the information you would read if you read the book, it's a wonderful time to be alive. And I really love that. I didn't know what literature you were going to bring into me, but we had talked that we were going to talk a little bit about David Icke. Some people think, well, he's one of the biggest conspiracy theories around. But a lot of what he says, he's written actually 30 books mainly on the subject of the world's biggest secret. But today, it's a lot of things are actually coming out into the mainstream. We don't always understand what we're hearing, but here I am, and Russ is here too. If anybody knows of David Icke or has written any of these things, please call in. It's a little different, okay? What's the number? 888-994-4995. And I think I'm getting some funny looks from Freddie and Dawn over there. Okay? Studio A. So please call in. But we're going to do this on a lighter, I don't want to be that serious. My show is never that serious, but just take from what you like, and you might hear something. But there's a lot going on in the world that we really are not privy to. And I've talked and mentioned many times that maybe we're being controlled, and that's up to us to understand that, to believe it, and I don't expect everybody to. It took me a long time to actually open my eyes to see really what maybe, I'm going to say maybe going on. I happen to believe it, but not everybody does, and I absolutely understand that. So here, I'm open to questions. It doesn't necessarily have to be on conspiracy theories, but if you have a question you want to ask me, I'm here. And in the studio audience, I think that maybe Freddie might have because you had no idea what we were talking about or going to be talking about. Do you have a question for me?
I don't know if I'm the one to lead off. Anybody have a question?
Well, Russ, definitely.
Russ?
Yeah, you had mentioned, now David Icke is from UK?
Yes, he's from the UK. Yeah.
And so this is the first book that you delved into 20-some years ago, right?
Yes, it was, because when I suddenly opened up to a whole new world, where I wasn't, as he says, his head blew off in the 90s, that I didn't understand a thing. But my guide, people know by now, if you've been watching my show, that Aldo was my guide here in physicality. He said to me, if you can get through this particular book, which you didn't know actually, I can get through that book, And also Zecharia Sitchin, if anybody knows about this subject, they're going to understand who Zecharia Sitchin is too. You're on your way. Well, for me personally, 20-something years ago when he started to tell me these things, it was not at my level of understanding at all. And that's where many people are today. But he was actually opening my mind to see maybe there's a different world out there that we don't necessarily know about. I thought, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And it's taken me, I'm going to say, a good 20 years to get to where I am now. And I was very open to the fact that this could be existing. I don't expect people to understand that because I didn't either.
Well, I think it's growing. It's a growing phenomenon now.
It is.
It's
You're right.
all over the world.
Yes.
The congressional hearings with David Grush and with Lou Alexander, his book. He has a book called Eminent. And it's out now, and even Witchcom has a show now. Bob Lazar, did you know he has a show on Gaia?
No,
I've
actually been listening a lot.
And he came out in 1979 saying, "I worked at Area 51, and you have all these spacecraft that's been back engineered, and we're taking those elements and making our own spacecraft and having people fly from planet to planet." And everybody says, that's a no-no, it's a nutcase.
Right.
But now he's out. It started in 1979.
I would say the more people that come aware of this, they begin to talk about it, so it doesn't sound so strange.
It's out now. Even Linda Nugent Howell, she started in 1979.
Yes, she did.
With the cattle mutilation stories. And she won, she's a television.
Did you ever watch the, what was it with... the show.
Her show?
No, not her. No, this was the X-Files.
Yeah,
which was,
of course.
Yeah.
And she's
Did you
on
watch
Gaia
the
now.
X-Files many years ago?
I remember seeing about the cattle. That part I saw, and they still haven't explained.
Well, what they did is with the X-Files, it was like a series. It was a regular TV show. But what they were doing, as I see today, they were introducing so much of what we now are talking about. And one was actually the cattle, I believe.
Okay, so what is the end game to exposing all of this? What is it that...
So much, look, there are a billion things that have been hidden from us, because we're in the matrix, right? As he talks about.
Right.
This is the matrix. So all the universities, when you look at William Tompkins, and he has a book called Selected by Extraterrestrials, and a 3-volume series. People should read it. You got to do your homework now. You got to catch up because it's going to explode now. And so, what's the end game? The end game is to teach us that we are in a matrix, that we were made by aliens, as called by Zecharia Sitchin, right in his book, The 12th Planet, and that we are here as an experiment.
Yeah.
Huh? What do you say?
That was the first one. The 12th Planet was the second one.
Was that right? As I said, she's been through many of these books. So the end game is to tell us the truth. We've been lied to. All of this time we've been lied to. All the universities are way off in terms of, there's no such thing as time. And we made up time as a component to follow on this planet. There's no such thing as that everything is made out of energy. We're all energy. And as Dolores Cannon says, our greatest lesson coming here, being incarnated to this planet.
Freudian slip.
Freudian slip, yeah. We all in prison. Some people call it a prison planet. So I say we're
incarcerated. We have to make light of this because we might lose some people here. They might say, "Oh, I don't know about this," but you know what?
But
we
it's all
just want
true.
to bring awareness.
And I don't care if it's this year, next year, or 1,000 years from now. Everybody on the planet will understand it's what we say is true.
And Sally, you started reading these books. What made you decide to read that one from any other one?
Well, that's interesting because that's a good question. I would never, ever have known to pick these books out. But when I first met Aldo, and he took a look actually at some of my drawings, not the drawings in here, my sketches, and he could see what I was sketching, and he said to me, there's 2 books that I will teach you. That was one of the first things he actually said to me.
So he guided you to the book?
Yeah, but he said to me, and look at the size of this book, and I knew nothing. He said to me, if you can get through this book And then there was a gentleman called Zecharia Sitchin who wrote The 12th Planet and many others. If you have interest, and he did say that to me, but he already knew, really, but he couldn't force it down me as I can't anybody else. I will teach you. And I read that book, and I couldn't put it down.
Wow.
And I read The 12th Planet, and I couldn't put it down. I then looked at some of my sketches, and I see my artwork in Zecharia Sitchin's book. So I said to myself, there has to be something to this.
And so all of that information is in your subconscious mind.
Absolutely, but it was already. That's
yeah.
carrying it a little bit further than what maybe people might understand, but this is explained to me too. He also explained to me that I had all this information,
Right.
but it was dormant.
Right.
And he called it, your subconscious and then your superconsciousness, and it's coming up from my superconsciousness.
There are a lot of people like you, like me. We are all students on this planet.
Absolutely.
And we came to this part of the
Right,
galaxy
right.
to deal with disclosure.
Yeah, and it's important, Russ, and I think that's why, I'm happy that you're my guest today, because I know you can't give people too much at a time, because I'm I was a student of that myself. And I actually asked him, because he was explaining, like in the beginning when they first came down here, and he's mentioning this name, it's kind of fascinating, and that name to me. And I said, can you draw a family tree? Because he's mentioning, Enlil and Enki.
Wow.
And, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I didn't. And he said there were two brothers. They came, anybody watching the show that knows the story of the beginning. I said, let me write this down. Enki, Enlil, brothers. And then I was hearing more, and then where the planet that they came from, Nibiru.
Yeah.
And I'm going, oh my goodness, this is mind-blowing. But, it was like listening to a movie. But I feel not obligated, as you do too, that I feel that anybody that has an interest in what we're talking about, that we should discuss it. Because if you don't, they're never going to open up.
Well, you're never going to know.
And as Elizabeth April says, take it or leave it. It doesn't matter, but at least I feel that I've done my job just as you do too, with the information that we have.
Absolutely. Talk about Elizabeth April now. Who is she?
Well, she's also on, actually I watch her on Gaia, but she's also on YouTube too, who is, I'm not going to say a younger version and a woman of David Icke, but they follow the same principles and what they do talk about. And we have to put it under the label of conspiracy theories, because a lot of people do not believe this, and that's fine too. But I never really, it was fascinating to me and it was confusing, but I never doubted it. I never doubted what we were doing here. And to this day, I don't either.
So lately you've been listening to Elizabeth April. Any revelations that have come to the fore?
Well, I think she's amazing, because she astral projects and she, remote views. And I've done the same thing in my life. This started with me astral projecting somewhere. So I really couldn't deny what Elizabeth April is talking about. I haven't been to as many places as she has, because I've mastered the art, because I can do it. But I find if I hadn't have had these things happen, I would say, well, I don't believe for one moment that she'd ever make anything up, because I can experience it. One, which I have traveled around a lot in my dream state, let's say. And one thing that I found was fascinating, actually. People talk that the world is flat sometimes, people. No, because I've seen the world, and it's round, and I heard her say that, And you have to, that's a good example of experiencing something, because we really don't know. We know what we're told. But when you've actually experienced something firsthand, you're more likely to open up. And then when you hear it from somebody, you don't have to believe it. But if I'm saying something similar to what you talk about, we talk about that, and she says something similar, and he's talking about something, we don't know I know you, but we don't know each other. How are we all coming up with the same thing? That's a very good point. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, John, did you have any questions about where we are? Or you have something you might want to read to us?
You sent me a couple things.
And that's from the book. That's
Days
from
of
this book.
Decision, it says. And this one is The Biggest Secret. The Biggest Secret is this one.
It's from this book, yeah. The Biggest Secret.
It's this one.
Some
Says,
people might want to get this book and read it.
the agenda I am exposing has been unfolding over thousands of years to its current point close to completion, because humanity has given away its mind and its responsibility. Humanity would rather do what it thinks is right for itself in the moment than consider the wider consequences of its behavior for human existence. Ignorance is bliss, we say, and that's true, but only for a while. It may be bliss to know a tornado is coming because you would have no need to worry or take action. But while your head is in the sand and your bum is in the air, the tornado is still coming.
I love that. I love that. But that's so very true, because it's the same with anything. If you don't know anything, you need information, and the best way to get information are shows like what we're doing right now, even if it's just a small audience, because that small audience can turn into a larger one. There could be someone just watching saying, you know, I had that thought, or I heard that. And it's valid. We need validation sometimes, because it's...
What had you read that book? I know Aldo told you to, but
Well,
but why and what did you learn from
Well,
it?
I learnt a lot from this. This man's written 30 books, but this was one of his beginning ones. Well, we're under an illusion here that we think the world is the way it is. It isn't, and that's what he says, the biggest secret, the world's biggest secret. Now, I don't expect people to even understand what I'm talking about. It takes research, as Russ definitely knows, that we are basically, and I intimate sometimes that we are controlled by people, but you think about it, we're controlled just by thinking about it. We're told what to eat, we're told what time to sleep, we're governed by time. You think, won't even touch politics, okay? Schools, all these things. If you start to maybe question some of this, you don't have to believe anything that I'm saying or Russ we're saying, but just maybe question it a little bit. Say, oh my God, do I really have free will here? No, we don't, but it takes a long time to turn our mind around. I may not even know the truth. It's my truth. So I don't expect other people to necessarily believe it, but this is what I believe today. And I will talk about it as much as I can, but I think the best thing to do is question, do research, and maybe just open your mind slightly that we're not completely free in this world, you know? It's a very difficult life.
But where does it start? Where does the change or the misperception start?
That's a very good question
All of
too,
it.
because I think it's when we're ready.
All of it's a fake. All of it's false. When
Go ahead.
you really delve into all of this and listen to all the writers, whether it be Bob Lazar, whether it be David Wilcox, Corey Good, George Newray, I mean,
There's a lot of people.
on and on and on, they will tell you that this is a fake planet. It's a matrix. And again, I'll keep on going back to referencing this story. If you ever have seen The Truman Show, 20 years ago, Jim,
The Matrix, actually,
the
itself, the movie.
The Matrix. This is a matrix. It's not what you think it is.
You take the red pill.
Like Dolores Cannon says this. She says it this way. Well, you gonna take a break?
No, it
Keep
just
going.
this thing went out, but the show hasn't gone out.
Dolores Cannon says this way.
It's okay, do it.
She's written, what, 18 books? At least 18 books. She's traveled all over the world, teaching people and coaching people with
Right.
her new hypnotherapy process. And she says there's not a person that she's talked to and coached that has not been healed of any ailment that came to her.
And you know what,
Yeah.
though, and I totally agree and understand that, but the main thing is to believe it to start off with, and if you can get, so many people say, oh, I'll give it a try. But if you don't believe it, I don't believe it's going to work. You've got to really believe
Well, then
it.
it's not going to work.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
You have to really believe, like in the Bible says,
Exactly.
whatsoever things you believe when you pray,
Exactly, Ron.
believe that you receive them, and you shall have
That's
them.
right, because the belief.
The belief.
And
That
we're
has
all
to be-
open to different ways of believing, and I understand
If
that
you
too.
believe that you're rich and you're wonderful, you're a nice person, you deserve to have the prosperity of a billionaire or millionaire, and you really believe that, it's going to eventually come to you.
And the thing about
you-
that too is
Go
we
ahead.
sabotage ourselves because some people just do not feel that they're worthy
Oh, of
of that.
course.
So it works, it can work both ways. If you believe you're not worthy of what you may want, you're not going to get it.
No.
So you've got to believe that you're worthy of whatever it be,
Yeah.
be it being able to paint, be it whatever it is. You have to believe that you can do it.
Yeah. So it's a process that when you go through the Bible and look at what Jesus has said, he said, first, I've come that you may have life, that you may have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd, and I give my life for the sheep, if you will. When you got to look at all the things that have been written, whether it be in the Bible, whether it be in the Mormon books of training us, Baha'u'llah, all of these things have been made up by man to put us in a cul-de-sac.
Exactly. So that you don't jump out of the box.
Right.
We're in a box, which
Right.
is where we are right now. I used a very good example before, and again, take it or leave it. And I love that expression because you don't have to believe this. But you put one of these video games and you put a headset on. I heard this the other day. And you believe you're there. I mean, you can fall off a chair, you're fighting with somebody. Well, why could that not be maybe what we're doing here with the headset on?
Dolores Cannon says it, and others said, whatever we experience, the people you meet, the shows you go to, it's all one big movie. And when you go back on the other side, you say, I'd be doggone, that was a movie.
Yes, that's
That
right.
was a pretend.
Well,
That
go
was a
back. You know what?
That was a play.
William Shakespeare. I loved him as a child. I used to read. My father bought me, I was like
Sure.
8 years old, the works of William Shakespeare. But in his writings, if all the world's a stage and we're just merely players, and one thing after another, where do you get these things from? He knew a lot, you know.
He did know a lot, yeah.
And it's like, if you've known about it, let's say I'm sure most of my viewers here believe in previous lives at this point, they wouldn't be listening to the show. But if you know about it, it'll resurface in this particular, which happened to me because I had 2 lifetimes where it was dormant, but it resurfaced. That's why Aldo showed himself to me, because he knew it would at that point in this lifetime. If I was still wanting it to happen, you can't make somebody believe this, but I was open to this.
Okay. So you're now saying, I don't remember anything. I'm still out of it. But you remember lifetimes that you lived.
No, I was
parts of it.
drawing them. With my situation, it's a little different. I didn't know that I remembered them, but when I started to sketch, I don't know if you know the story, I was sketching from other lifetimes, one in particular, which was around the Renaissance time. And I'm doing all the signs and symbols that people were using in those days. You can call it secret messages if you want. I wasn't aware that I knew all these signs, and yet I was drawing these signs and symbols, and Aldo knew. He was there for me for this. So
All right,
he said, go.
Aldo said you had lived before.
Oh, he was in that lifetime with me.
Okay, who were you, if I may?
Well, that's something it doesn't, well, I was, it's some type of royalty, let's put it like
Okay,
that. Yeah,
okay.
I'm apprehensive to come out with who I am because
Why?
I don't want people questioning. I'm here to just talk about me and where I am today. I know and believe that I am who I was in that particular lifetime because I do understand a lot of this. And the person that I was in that lifetime knew a lot about this, or somebody that knew about this, because where is all this information coming from? It's coming from a super consciousness that we all have it. I'm no different to anybody else, like you're no different. We think we are sometimes, but we're not. We're all capable of absolutely doing this. I truly believe that. But you've got to open that mind, and if you don't, then that's okay too. You just continue, and maybe you'll do it in the next lifetime or two lifetimes from now. You know that, Russ. You
Right,
know.
yeah.
It's not really important for people listening anyway of who we are. It's who we are now and what we've learned maybe from other lifetimes to bring it forward. That's the important part.
So Elizabeth April, Dolores Cannon, Linda Moulton Howe, and especially the great-great-great-granddaughter of President Eisenhower, all of whom agree that we came from somewhere in the out there in the cosmos, if you will, to this planet to help with disclosure, right?
Absolutely.
And they said that they blocked us from remembering anything.
As we enter, right?
As we entered, so that you can work out whatever you have to work out. Now, they say not only 2 or 3 people come here, but they say sometimes you will bring 400 or 500 people with you.
Correct.
And during your lifetime on this play, this stage,
correct,
that you will see them and talk to them, and maybe we've met before.
Yeah. I go one step further, which I know
Okay.
you'll agree with, because even if we didn't come actually to the planet with them, they're still guiding us from somewhere
Okay.
else. So if, let's say we have 500 people, maybe 200 or 300, I'm getting goosebumps. That's a lot of people, but if you've got a big message, you want a lot of people, right? But they're still helping us with that.
And we do need help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they said of all the planets, that known planets, you know, in the galaxies, that this is one of the toughest. It's not the toughest one.
And I think that we're all, you know, all of us on this planet have chosen to be here, and I think all of us have chosen to be here at this time. But not a lot of you have to wake up or begin to remember what we have been told to forget by coming into this planet to experience it. If we can, what they call wake up, which you know obviously what I mean, then we've got more chance of helping the planet right now, because now is the time. It's going through a shift.
Now, when you talk about extraterrestrials, you know, the Greys, the Reptilians,
Right.
the Blue Avens, you know, the Nordics, the Reptilians, on and on and on and on, the tall whites, whatever. Now, they say there are hundreds of thousands of them in all the galaxies, right? And a lot of them would like to come here at this time to help with disclosure, but they won't let everybody through.
No, I think it's difficult to get in.
Okay, now that we've gotten through to get these lessons as a student, what do you think we are supposed to be doing?
Well, we're here to tell people, because this planet has been an experiment, actually, and we're here to maybe verify that. We do not want to blow this planet up. Nobody wants that to happen, because it will then affect other, assuming everybody believes there are many other planets, which of course I'm sure our audience do. It's actually ultimately going to affect the other planets too. So we have to be careful with what we do. And I think that disclosure is really, just on that alone, forget everything that we want to talk about, just disclosure that there are other people from other planets here wanting to help us. Yes, there's good and bad, you know, but we have to have balance. If it's a game, and some of the atrocities that they do on this world is absolutely unbelievable. But it's believable, unfortunately, because it happens.
Wow.
But we don't have to go into all that part of it, but you have to have that balance. And in order to see the evil that actually happens here, to appreciate what we have on the other side of this, and let's get a balance here. Because if everything was evil or everything was great, we wouldn't be experiencing the way we are, which, you know, I've talked about that a few times. So it's all important. And I heard something actually with David Icke saying the other day, and maybe we'll talk another time about this, is that it's really important to begin to understand this, because we have reincarnation here. And it's like I was listening to this and it suddenly made so much sense. We're on a wheel, and that wheel opened up something to me with whatever he said. For me, it certainly did, is that we don't get off that wheel. And this may be difficult for people to understand, because it's taken me 20-something years to even begin to comprehend this, but with the help of him, listening to him, is that we continue. Because what is the last thing people say? Maybe, I don't want to come back here. Let me go somewhere else, you know? And yet we do come back. Because I believe, and this is a little far out, but I really, and he has talked about it, that when we pass, we're actually still not here, but the same, we're energy, but it's the same situations going on.
Yeah.
Now, I don't expect anyone to believe that, and that's fine, because we all have our faith and whatever you want. But it's not a whole lot different. That's why we keep coming back. We got to break away from that whole thing.
Yeah, and they say they trick us to come back. That's
they
what
do.
he said.
Yeah, I wasn't going to get into that too much.
But it's important to talk about that.
Yeah, I have to at this point, just like,
yeah.
you know, Dawn, you heard this for the first time. Please,
have you heard,
let's get some
have
input
anybody
here.
said that?
You know,
'Cause
why
we
don't you take
both-
a commercial break and then we'll come back and address some of these, because I'm like jaw-dropping at the moment.
I know. Okay, I would love some questions on that,
Okay.
especially with Russ here too. All right, we'll see you in a few minutes on the other side of this planet here of my show.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and a grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. while going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book at authorhouse and amazon.com or visit my art on my clothing in my boutique at artbysallybarnard.com. Now back to the show. We have some water. It's only water, just a disclaimer.
So I have so many questions. So at what point people get sick, people pass away, people age? So if all of it is alive, but what about humanity and the human side of us?
I love this because you're hearing it for the first time, right? It's a lie, but it doesn't have it. We're here. It's our core existence right now. And what we choose to believe, and I was just saying this to Russ, let's say we're Jewish. So when we pass, we may not necessarily, I think Jesus, and I'm certainly not offending anybody, was a wonderful person, but maybe my belief of how Jesus, who he was, is slightly different to someone that's raised Catholic. It doesn't make him any different a person. He did all these wonderful things. So I might want to see someone, not necessarily Jesus, I'm going to say Moses, I don't know who I want to see, it doesn't matter. But if I pass, that's usually who you will see. It's the same as here, when people come back from out of body, oh, I saw this person or that person, because you will, because this is really deep. I don't know how far I should go into this, because it's a different way. You know what, I'm feeling that I shouldn't talk too much about it. It's a different, it only just occurred to me, and I've been listening to this on and off for over 20 years. It's a different way of thinking, because we're energies, so we actually see, and this has been proven actually, not from people coming back, but from near death, that we see what we want to see. We do, because it's a continuation of here. So we're on a wheel. That's what I was hearing David Icke talk about, and that wheel it continues even because we don't die. I mean, that's the good news. We definitely don't die. We continue. But we're not continuing that different to what we are here. We see all our relatives, our friends, we see everybody, and we see the religious figure. If we're using a religious figure, people say, well, I didn't cross over, because once you've crossed over, you have, but they've had an out of body, that they've seen who they've wanted to see. I do believe that. But if you believe that this world is, I'm not going to say made up, but let's say it's a dream, basically. That's the easiest, best way to put it. You're still dreaming. You haven't woken up yet. But there is a real world. There is a real world. There is a real heaven. There is a real everything. But you've got to get out of this wheel, because we're controlled in this wheel. Am I making sense?
Yeah. David,
No,
he
probably.
does.
Yeah, but you understand.
You're making sense to Russell, yes.
Yes. No, I need just to verify it, because there are other people out there. My mouth was open when I first heard this. I said,
So what
my
is real?
gosh.
Tangible. We sit here in a tangible, this is the chair, you are humans, right? There's a table and a camera. Tangible.
All right.
But if you break down the molecules, it's not.
Let me say this. There are people who I listen to and have relationships with say, this is not real,
right.
this
That's
is
what I'm saying.
not tangible. No. No, watch this. So I said, I was saying the same thing. I'm sitting at the lunch. He says, you think this is real? I said, yeah. He said, no, it's not real.
No, it's not.
Right? And I said, okay. He said, when you're abducted, and many people have been abducted all throughout the world, You go through the ceiling, you go through the wall, you through the glass,
True.
everything, and you put back. So you're not even whole.
That makes
You're not
sense.
solid. You
So like
nobody
the
is.
Spielberg
Beautiful
movie.
way to explain it.
Huh?
Thank
The
you. That
movie
was a
set.
Beautiful way.
I'm sorry.
So Spielberg movie, right? The new movie that just came out,
Right.
Disclosure Day.
Disclosure.
Movie set. Her life they reenacted as a movie set because nothing was really tangible. It could just be recreated.
I didn't see it. I didn't
Well,
see it.
it's very, very hard to understand this. I mean, this is solid, so we think. But how do you go through, as you said, a door? How do you go
You
through
go
a
through
door?
the wall. You go
can
through the ceiling.
People out
They-
of body have
They
experienced that.
abduct people on and on and on, whether you see Fire in the Sky or the E.T. or the Communion, whatever motion picture, or the Fourth Kind. Watch all those motion pictures. People go through the ceilings, the walls, and whatever, and especially the one that Steven Spielberg had completed. He did a 13.5 hour mini-series called Taken. And if you want to see that, did you ever see that?
I haven't, but I've heard about it. I've got to watch it.
You can get it if you go to Amazon and get it. You should watch it. 98% of everything in that 13.5 hour series is true.
See, and a lot of what Russ is saying, there are many, not just Steven Spielberg is not coming out, he can still do it as fiction. All these people that do this, why do they say fiction? Because they don't want people to, The Matrix, people are really attracted to that movie, fiction. Well, what we're talking about, the fact that maybe it isn't fiction. Inception, look at that, a dream within a dream. It's out there.
The Men in Black, have you seen that?
Yeah, I saw that. I made
Okay,
Steve
that's
watch it.
not fiction.
No.
Because
not.
all those kind of little insectoids.
He's my man. Let me do a high five with you. Yeah. It's good.
They're real. Because you got the insectoids, you got the reptilians, you got the grays, you got the tall whites, you got the blue avians. I mean, on and on and on, all kinds of species
We
out
did
there.
issue a warning here. So that's
Watching us, observing us, not especially from the moon, because they think the moon is a planet. It's not.
no, it's not. You're going to have permission to go on the moon
Yeah,
itself.
the moon is an observatory that was
Yeah.
placed there 40,000, 50,000 years ago to watch us and as we evolve.
Okay, so what about the phases of the moon?
Huh?
Phases of the moon that we see.
Okay,
Right,
you're
full
only going to
moon.
see what they want us to see, Dawn, and that's
that's
very
all
important
created
to
also.
understand.
They make everything, this is a dream. This is a matrix. This is a what if.
Oh, it's so good to hear him saying what I'm talking about.
And you can look, I renamed my show, Manifesting Cosmic Consciousness. Why did I do that? Because I learned recently that you can manifest whatever you want in this world.
I can't believe this.
Right.
I've been saying exactly the same thing. Of course you can, because once you start believing, and it's only recently that I believe this. I mean, I knew you could manifest, but I didn't understand it. Once you start looking at it this way, there is nothing that we can't do.
There's nothing you can't do.
Because you're the master of your dream.
You're the master of making things happen
That's right.
in your lifetime. But it's all a play, and you think it's really, really incredibly real, but it's not. When you cross over, you say, I'll be doggone.
But even then, we're still there. That's what I was just saying,
Right.
until we get off the wheel.
Yeah,
There is a name for the
they say
wheel
when
of
you
something.
get off the wheel, don't follow the light. They say, if the light
Yeah,
brings you
and
back
I
in.
only just heard that.
It's funny. So the last 2 nights ago, I had a dream about my dad. Now, my dad passed in July,
Yeah.
and he was adamant. And he says to me, the pictures and the timestamp, they're all wrong.
Yep.
Perfect.
And
Oh,
I
I'm
went, what
getting
do you mean?
goosebumps.
And it was just like having a
I'm
conversation
getting
with
the
you. I was
goosebumps,
having this
yes.
conversation with my father, and he was telling me it's all wrong.
It's
the
wrong.
timestamp is
He's
wrong. The
right.
pictures are wrong. It's
Right.
wrong.
There's no
here,
such thing as
Dawn.
time.
What is
Yeah,
so?
he's
Is that
here.
what that means?
Yes.
On this planet, it's time. On other planets, there's no such thing. With
But
the
even
grays
when
and
you
reptilians
cross
and the
over,
nodes.
there is no time, and they'll tell
There's
you
no
that people
time.
that have left
no
their
such
body.
thing as time.
It's
Everything
all
is now.
man-made.
Is that a crazy dream to have?
Yeah,
No,
of
I think
course.
it's a wonderful
But
because
it's
you're
real,
sitting
and
here.
you got to start listening to these people and go over
That
and
was
over
her
again.
dad.
It was my dad who crossed a year ago.
Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah. That's
He knew what he
good.
was talking about.
I guess this was the conversation I had with him Saturday night when I was sleeping.
Yep.
But it's so real.
The thing is, you
Ron.
have to be a little careful with this subject. That's
No,
why,
I think
because
it's
you've
out
got
of
to
the
get
box
some
now.
of it
It's
out.
like
But I
Jack
have
in
a
the Box.
continual
Get the
show,
Jack
and
out
you
of
have
the
a
box.
studio here. So, but you know what? It's good. And again, as some people do say, take what you want, leave it. But just open, if you want to, open your mind a little bit to this, because
But
it's fascinating.
David Icke talks about it. He says everything is a pretend, and you are in the matrix, and you got to watch what you. He said AI is coming, right? He said AI. He says AI is terrible because it takes away all your independence of creating your own
mind,
ways
yes,
of
yeah.
doing things.
Which Freddie was talking about.
And he talks
Because
about that in
they're
his
thinking,
book.
it's thinking for us.
It simplifies life so we don't have to think
And then
as
Right.
much.
what
Right,
happens when
right.
that happens? We're controlled anyway. How much easier is it to control a species of people if your mind is being taken over by AI?
Yeah.
It makes sense. Now, you don't have to even believe it.
So
but
when was this
logically-
book written?
Oh, I read
20
this in
years
the
ago.
25.
You read it a long time ago.
I read it when Elder gave it to me
She
originally.
read it 20
so-
some years ago.
But he's come a long way. He didn't believe any of this in the 90s. It happened in the 90s, and suddenly he calls it his head blew off, and he suddenly started to understand, and he's still going.
He's really a deep,
And that,
conceptualized.
truthfully, in the
creative thinker.
beginning, Russ,
Yeah.
when I first started to watch him, this is so negative.
He's
but
awesome. He's awesome.
He's wonderful.
So we
He's
take
seven-
this further. We're being controlled by the other planets, by
Absolutely.
the galaxy, and we're
Well-
just like this marble, this ping pong. Let's.
Well, you're being controlled by certain elements out there, the Dracos, the reptilians who are diabolical and a little nefarious. They control us.
See, I was going to say, to cut a long story
ahead,
short, and I
go
can do it. It takes years for people to explain it. I'm going to do it in 2
Go ahead,
minutes.
Go ahead.
They came to this planet. I'm going to do it very quickly, okay? And they are of a different species, okay?
Yeah.
It's not the whole story of the other thing. So they came and they believed it was their planet. It was their planet. They were here, okay? So it's their planet. So they felt the need to control this very quickly. There's so much
No,
more
that's
to this.
good, that's good.
They felt the need to control what was going on here. Some of them left. They went back to wherever they came from. Some stayed, and the ones stayed feel that they own this place. End of story. So they go to any length to
To
do this.
maintain control.
That's
and
in a
and
nutshell.
dominance over
And
us.
it can take years and years and years of the way that we're taught to even begin to see that.
Yeah.
But when you do, it's really quite simple.
Right,
Yeah.
it is. So, if in addition to BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, and those organizations that control the media and control politics and control all of us, we control. They are also controlled. So there's a hierarchy of this stuff of control,
And it's so secret,
and
Dawn.
we sucked in it.
It's so very secret.
Oh, a top
and if you know
secret.
anything about the Masons, the Masonry,
33
the very 36th, I think, or 33rd degree, know it as much as they can. But the pyramid there, most of them don't. And they do talk about this in Masonry, but you have to be at the very, very top.
Yeah.
I heard that. How am I making this up? If there's even this, which we know about the I mean, I feel like I'm saying too much, but it doesn't really matter.
No, it's in books. It's out there.
It's important to just open your mind. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. You know what? I've opened my mind.
Has it changed the way you think and see things?
I woke up only recently.
You are in charge of this planet.
I see the
that's what-
world.
that's what
It's
they're
not, no,
afraid of.
it's okay. I'm just going to say. I was going to ask you
Go ahead.
too. I see the world completely different today.
of course you do.
100% differently.
And you behave differently.
Everything.
Because once
That's
you're aware of
right.
it,
Yeah.
Once you're aware of it, once you know that you are indeed in charge of using your potential, your possibilities. See, most people use 5% of their mental
Yeah, no, we were just talking about it. Maybe 10 at
maybe
the
10,
most,
maybe
right?
10 if
yeah.
you're lucky. Where's the other 90%? They have blocked it.
That's right.
So you don't use your pineal gland. You don't use all your chakras. You know.
And you're not here by coincidence.
But
Dawn,
once you
you're-
start using it, you say, "Wait a minute, hold, stop."
Because you know, if you learn one way, it's the same with anything, and then you suddenly try to start looking a different way. It's very difficult because everything you watch is the one way that you've learned.
Yeah.
The TV, the movies, they'll put little things in the movies. A lot of them have that, but they're laughing. We're getting our point across, but they never understand. Why do you think so many people? The Matrix was an unbelievable
Right,
mill.
unbelievable,
Everybody
yeah,
wanted to watch
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
Inception.
So Sally, you both see different sides of it. Because we're talking about what energy is, and David Icke.
Mm-hmm.
You're a psychic. You see spirits. You talk to spirits. You're a medium.
Mm-hmm.
You have another life of.
Yeah, I'm not a medium.
No, but you have this
But I wish
cosmic
I were.
consciousness, this manifesting cosmic consciousness of the things that you know to be true.
Right, right.
How does all of that play into where we're at? So you see the other side. You're manifesting what you
all
want.
part and parcel of the same
But
thing.
all-
It's just different chapters. Let's say there's
Yeah,
one chapter on what.
Different degrees of the same
Yeah,
thing. It's
exactly.
all, see, everything is one. We all one. And you know, we're not separated from each other.
No.
You know, we all one. The law of one.
Yeah,
as
that was David Wilcock.
David Wilcox was teaching us the law of one. Now, what happened to him? He's 54 years old. They took him
They
out.
took him out. But I mean, you know, I don't want to make these accusations, but people that are watching know a lot of the
Yeah, they took him out.
They
took
know
him
the
out.
story.
And he said 3 or 4 days before they took him out, they may take me out.
Yeah.
And they took him out.
And people have come out with these. Look at the scientists. We've had a show on that before that we're missing. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things going on that would be another 10 shows actually to discuss that. But just open your mind a little bit to say, well, you know, I don't know.
David Icke
maybe
says, open your mind, open your mind, open
Now
your
Sally
mind.
Barnard said it.
Don't stay on the plantation. Open your mind. Get out of the matrix.
So do you find it fascinating, Dawn?
I find it fascinating because it comes from the two of you. I was joking
Right.
with Sally on the midday. If you two had children, what their mind would be like, their brain of intelligence would be just superseding everything.
Yeah, of course. They would have to
They'd be like Tyler.
And the hybrids who are coming to this planet, you know, that now there's another piece of this, that some of us, or some people, let's put it like that, are breeders. You know, they make kids
Yeah.
with aliens, right? And so those kids, if you go again and see the motion picture, you got to see this. It's a motion picture called Take It.
Yeah, we'll do
Steven
that.
Spielberg, 13 and a half hours of it. If you watch that, everything I just said, you say, wow, it's right there.
See, but to watch these things, and I haven't actually seen it. I'm definitely going to watch it.
You gotta watch that.
Hopefully we're opening people's minds enough that they say, I think they mentioned that on the show, or any show that discusses it, just to see that they are talking about what we're talking. It might be in a movie, but it's there. A lot of these movies, people say, I saw something like that in a movie a long time ago, because they put it out there, but only what they want you to know.
So he did a magnificent job, and I talk to people who are 1,000 times brighter than I am and know about this stuff, and they say 98% of everything in Taken is true. 98%.
Wow.
It's fascinating.
Now, when you want to go look at that, it's a movie. Watch it.
Dawn,
13 and a half
changes
hours.
your whole
Watch it a little
existence.
bit at a time, right? Another movie I would recommend that I know it's true. It's called Hearts in Atlantis.
Well,
Have you
I've
seen
heard of that. I think
Hearts
you
in-
told me to watch that a long time
Hearts
ago.
in
Yeah.
Atlantis. Watch that guy who, what's his name? I can't think of his name. He did an excellent job in playing the lead in that picture. Hearts in Atlantis was put out maybe 15 years ago. Watch that. And when the Men in Black were always Anthony Hopkins, they were trying to get him because he had certain skills.
I watched that. Actually, Steve was interested in watching that. We watched that about a month ago, Men in
Good,
Black.
good.
Yeah.
Were they after him?
Yeah.
Because of what he could do. He had gotten out of the matrix and could use his mind and read minds, mental telepathy, whatever.
But you know, another one, Inception, is good because it's a dream within a dream,
Okay,
and that's
okay.
Have you seen Inception?
No, I remember.
Oh, you should watch it. It's
Okay, I
really
will.
good. It's
But
like
Again, Hearts in Atlantis I would reach. Now, one that's a little bit more scary would be The Fourth Kind. It's a motion picture done in Nome, Alaska, and it's absolutely true, 99% of that. But I know it's a little scary on that one, but
I actually haven't seen it either. But I saw Steven
The Fourth
Spielberg.
Kind. Go to the what's that, Netflix and watch that.
So let's, because we're coming to the end of the show,
Oh, okay.
just let's tell the audience, be aware that we're not alone. There are aliens
True,
coming here,
true,
okay? Let's end
true.
it that way because the show is
True.
good, that even just opening your mind to the fact that we aren't alone.
Right.
They've been walking amongst
Right.
us. That kind of seems very nothing now
You
compared
still
to
have
what
about
we-
10 minutes, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you're good on
But
time.
it's interesting to hear your view on it, Dawn.
Because I want to think like tangibly. Now, we joke a lot. When Russ comes in here, good things happen. He comes in, sometimes we don't see him for 6 months, but when he comes back, we know things are going to get better. I guess it's part of your manifesting cosmic consciousness.
I would hope, because listen, we're all students, all of
That's
us.
right.
We just came here to figure this thing out. So I hope I can play my small part in disclosure and letting people know what the reality is on this planet. And like I was doing on my last show, and Freddie was here, and he says, well, what some of you, I said, some of my experiences happen to have been that I dropped out of school in the 9th grade. I didn't go 10th grade. I quit, and I went into service. And my IQ, when they gave me some testing, was 140. So they said, we're going to make you air traffic controller. And that's what I did for 4 years, right?
With a 9th grade education.
With a 9th grade education. When I came out, I decided to use the GI Bill because I studied, got my GED when I was in the service. So I got my BA, MA, PhD, and taught at 3 different universities, taught broadcast, journalism, and on. I don't want to go through my history, but I'm saying that I've been through a lot. And I've been abducted at least 15 times.
See, in some ways, we
At
have a
least.
parallel here.
Minimum 15 times.
And I think you
'Cause
have to have something like that, something out of the norm, or had a different type of life to a lot of people, to maybe even look at it. And I know my life
yeah.
was totally different to a lot of people,
It's-
because it
it's-
gets you
it's
thinking
wild.
there
It's
might be
wild.
another way.
Do you remember being abducted, or were you neuralized?
I've been told I've been abducted.
You
Okay.
have been
Yeah,
abducted.
my
Of course he has.
I got good memory on numbers and all that in the recent, but I got some blanks, a lot of blanks in my head.
Well,
about,
they wiped your memory.
Huh?
They wiped your memory.
Oh, they wipe my memory. Yeah, they know how to wipe your memory. easily.
I'm going. Maybe you
now,
might wanna go.
She's been abducted many times, and you probably have too.
I'm going to a hypnotherapist
Yeah,
who
you need it.
does
Dolores
past life
Tanner
regression.
was good at that.
Yeah, but there's somebody here in Boca. I looked
Oh,
it
you
up
have-
and found
you
her
have?
name. She'll take you. She's actually she's a therapist, but
Oh.
she does
I
abductions.
need to
People.
go.
She's a therapist for
Wow.
people that have been abducted. But she has many diplomas in a lot of fields of doing things.
Then I need to go
So I
see
said,
her.
my friend who's and she's actually very qualified 'cause she's a professor of law. I said, I think she's got too many things that she's doing.
No.
She said, you can never be over. Yeah.
You never have too much.
Yeah.
You
So
never
I'm
can
going to
learn
go
too
to her.
much.
I haven't
and
made
you
the
never
phone
can
call
do
yet.
too much
She-
on this planet.
So I want to remember a lot. I remember some, but I want to
But what's your
remember.
advice then for people? Read the book, watch the movies.
Start paying attention to what's happening. It's going to explode all over the planet. You have been doing your podcast for 4 years now, right?
Those two, yeah.
And she was like early on, and she kept at it. She wouldn't stop. Some of us do it and back off, and then I'm not doing it anymore. But but there are going to be thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people doing podcasts 2 or 3 years from now on this one subject because the aliens are coming.
Well, I'm just going to say, because the aliens, it'll
they're
open your
coming.
minds a little bit
They-
more.
And what? And then what? They're coming to do.
They're coming to help us, actually.
Help us, to help us to become, to be able to use our possibilities. In our system, we have at least 24 different DNA from
DNA.
different alien species, right? At least 24.
Yeah, because a lot of them, they call it junk DNA.
Right.
It's not junk
That's
DNA.
This is not junk. There's nothing in your body junk.
Why would we
you
do
are
that to ourselves?
magnificent. Nobody of all the planets, of all the entities that live, you're the only one that's like you.
Thank goodness.
You're the only
But
one
Dawn
that's
knows.
like you.
I believe a lot. I mean, this is just me. I don't know for sure, but it's what I feel, that a lot is still dormant in you, Dawn. There is not a lot.
A lot. You got to learn how to manifest. You probably came to this planet, and where you came from, you probably were manifesting worlds and creating all
there's a lot that I think you're coming in contact with.
And you came through to be incarnated here to help us see a brighter day, if you will.
Definitely, Dawn.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So there are things that I know should work, and things that I know you can manifest, and things that I know I sees in the past life. I did this and I did this, and the things. So and then I think people, humanity, they try to block it. I'm a big believer in that.
They would love
Hatred, manipulation.
They love to block
Control.
you.
It's all about
They
control.
love to block you because once you are unblocked,
They don't have the control.
and you're using your pineal gland, you use all your chakras and all that, you can do anything.
Because they then have lost control. It's only, and as David Icke will say many times, a very, very small I mean, there's hardly anyone that does this.
Yeah.
And yet they can rule, I don't know how many
Look,
billion people.
You got 30 seconds. Look, watch this. You got Elon Musk. Do you know his early story? He was broke, destitute, almost homeless. What is he now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trillionaire.
So like Andrew Carnegie went to the 3rd grade when he came here as a Scotsman, right? And then he became the richest man in the world without going into getting PhDs and all that stuff. Yale,
Because that's
Harvard,
not,
MIT.
there's two words. I'll used to say that's knowledge. It's knowing that matters. The knowledge is from books of other people that were being controlled anyway.
So if he can, from a 3rd grade kid, forgetting any more school and become the richest man in the world, Elon Musk being poor, destitute, now the richest man in the world, come on. Look what you can do. Look what we all can do. We have that power and potential of manifesting things and doing whatever we want to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sally, all right. I know there's more to come. Your show airs, Russ, on Thursdays.
Thursday, yeah. Thursday.
Manifesting Cosmic Consciousness. What's on your show?
I'm sorry.
What's this week?
What's this week? Well,
Sally.
I think I'm going to talk more about the people who, in the early teens and 20s, who became multimillionaires, and let them talk to us and tell us
that's
how to
interesting.
continue to manifest our prosperity.
All right, and Sally, what's next for you?
Yeah.
Well, we'll play that by ear and see what response we get from this.
Incredible show.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys are fantastic. And Sally, your book is available on Amazon.com,
Yeah.
authorhouse.com. You can check the QR code right here on your screen. Get Call Me Zena. It'll give you sort of a backstory of Sally's life, where she came from, and now maybe she needs the next one and where she's going next.
And actually, I went, where was it? A psychic. I did. I don't often go to psychics. I had a phone call, and she said, "There's definitely going to be another book." I said, "No." She said, "There's going to be another book."
You have the transcripts
Well,
we
it's time
talked
to do
about.
that.
It's time to put
and
it
I
out.
suddenly remembered what we
That's
talked
good.
about.
Yeah.
That'd be a good book.
But it would be more in depth, I think, of the important part. Yeah.
Right, that's good. Yeah. So congratulations.
We'll do something.
Keep
yeah.
up the good work.
Yeah, I think so.
You're helping all of us.
Got nothing else to do. I've got to go to independent living. I may as well be doing something when I'm there.
All right, say goodbye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.